disconcerting. Good afternoon, councillors. Well, welcome to this meeting of Glamorgan Spring Bay Council.
The Glamorgan Spring Bay Council acknowledges the traditional owners of our region and recognises their long continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
I declare the meeting of Glamorgan Spring Bay Council on Tuesday the 24th of March open at 2:04 p.m. Councillors are in attendance: Deputy Mayor Michael Simons, Councillor Jenny Walker, Councillor Robert Young, Councillor Robert Churchill, Councillor Kenneth Gregson and Councillor Carol McQueenie and Mayor Arnold. Councillor, in accordance with Regulation 17.2I of the Local Government Meeting Procedure Regulations 2025, as Chairperson, I hereby request leave of absence for Councillor Neil Edwards for the meeting of Council for personal reasons. Motion, Councillor.
Thank you. I'll move that Council grant Councillor Edwards leave of absence for this ordinary meeting of Council dated 24th of the 3rd, 2026.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Gregson. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. In attendance today, we have the Acting Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Dick Shaw, the Director of Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Ron Anderson, the Acting Director of Planning and Development, Ms. Laura Small, the Director of Corporate and Financial Services, Mr. Craig Bennett, Executive Officer, Ms. Isabel Clarkson, and our Information Technology Officer, Ms. Shannon Mitchell-Moore, and two members of the gallery, and two members of the community in the gallery. Thank you. Agenda item 1.2 is late reports. Mr. Shaw, I understand we have a late report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And through you, Madam Mayor, I'd like to put on the agenda to be registered as agenda item 8.6, a late report titled Community Small Grant Application, Tasmanian Bushland Gardens Incorporated.
Thank you. I need a motion to accept the late report. Councillor Churchill.
Move that the late report be received.
Thank you. And dealt with at 8.6 in the agenda.
And dealt with at 8.6.
Thank you. Seconded. Councillor Walker, thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 1.3 is a declaration of interest in a matter of a councillor. As Mayor, I request elected members to indicate whether they have one, any interest personally or via a close associate as defined in Section 49 of the Local Government Act 1993, or two, any conflict as described in the Model Code of Conduct for Councillors in any item included in the agenda. Councillor McQueenie.
Can I just assume we don't 8.2 is irrelevant, where we're all
just we'll deal with that when we get there, Councillor McQueenie.
I don't know if I need to declare it. I assume none of us have to.
8.2?
Yes, because we've all got a conflict.
No, you won't have to.
Right, yeah, okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you. No other conflicts? Thank you. We'll move on. Agenda item 4 is the ordinary meeting of Council held on Tuesday the 24th of February. There is a recommendation on page 6. Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I'll move, and it's 2.12.
Yeah.
2.12. Thank you.
Yeah. 2.1.
Thank you.
Also. I'll move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held on Tuesday, 24th February 2026 at 2:03 p.m. be confirmed as a true and correct record.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Young, thank you. Councillor McQueenie.
Just in regard to one of the questions where that's been minuted that requires me to provide an answer, so it's my bad. Should I directly provide that back through you, Chair? It's just some clarification about detail that I hadn't provided around dog management. It actually asks the question of me.
So is the information in the agenda in the minutes incorrect, Councillor?
Well, it's stating that it requires an answer from me, which I haven't provided yet. So what I'm saying is to fulfil that,
Right.
should I put the draft to yourself for clarification?
Mr. Shaw, I need some guidance here.
Sorry.
It appears not, councillor McQueenie.
Okay.
Thank you. You happy to accept the minutes? All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Agenda item 2.2 is the date and purpose of workshops held. This is the one on the 10th of March, noting that my attendance is listed when in fact I was an apology for that particular one. There is a recommendation on page 8, I believe. Yes, Councillor Walker,
I move that council notes the information,
including
yours, and also to, oh no, wait till I get a second.
yes. Is there a seconder? Councillor McQueenie. Councillor Walker, you had something else?
Just because in their presence and apologies, should and this is probably a little bit of nitpicking, but Deputy Mayor Michael Simons is via Teams.
Yeah.
Is he present or not? I mean, if you know what I mean.
I believe so, but perhaps for clarity, it needs to have via Teams after the Deputy Mayor's name, so we can note that for future. Councillor Gregson.
And pursuant to Councillor Walker's question, Claudia Butler, she came on via Teams or
I'm
video.
sorry, you'll have to speak up, councillor.
Sorry. Claudia Butler was coming via video link or Teams as well, so that would be right as well.
Yes. You can make that note, but that was through Teams as well. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, I didn't hear that comment. I don't need to hear it again,
No,
but it would be handy if Councillor Gregson spoke into the mic.
I just put it forward. Is that better?
Councillor Young, Councillor Gregson was just clarifying, as Councillor Walker was, that both the Deputy Mayor and Ms Butler from Claudia Butler Consultancy Services attended that meeting via Teams.
But it's a workshop, was it not?
It was a workshop, yes. It was a workshop.
Local Government Act does not mandate that we have to attend workshop personally,
No.
but it does for council meetings.
Exactly. Thank you. There's nothing further on this agenda item. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Unanimously. Agenda item 3 is public question time. There is 3.1, a response to questions taken on notice on the 24th of February. Mr. Leon Richardson's and the acting CEO's response. Mr. Shaw, I don't believe there's anything else that we need to add to this.
Through Madam Mayor, nothing further to add.
Thank you. Agenda item 3.2, responses to previous questions without notice on the 24th of February from Mr. Neilfold and Mr. John Patterson, and there are responses from the acting CEO. Move on to agenda item 3.3, which is questions without notice, and Ms. Patricia Kirk has a question without notice. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Kirk.
Thank you for taking my question. The may have already had a response, but I'm not sure about the detail.
Sorry to the groups to cut in, but could we use the microphone, please?
It's just meant to be turned on.
Thank you.
That's good.
It's working.
Yes.
Beg your pardon.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking my question. I'm here as a member of Spring Bay Studio and Gallery, have been since 2009. And my question is a follow-up question to that lodged by Sue Nettlefold, president of the studio, last month, and a submission that was made. I'm unsure as to the response so far, but the question is, has there been a workshop scheduled to discuss this issue? It concerns a potential permanent site for the studio, which we've been looking for since 2009. Is there any comment and response to the question last time about any feedback on the possibilities, the option of a permanent site? The studio has funds to build a shed, but we have nowhere to put it. So we're just wondering if there's any consultation or any workshop scheduled by the council to discuss this issue. Thank you.
So, Ms. Kirk, I don't have any feedback in relation to it. As you probably are aware, Ms. Nettlefold and I did have a conversation at this exhibition, which, by the way, was absolutely brilliant in the venue that it was in, and around the potential for something. So I guess really the only feedback at the moment is that, as the CEO has responded to Ms. Nettlefold, is that council's always open to considering proposals that do align with the needs of council and the community. So I think it's just something that we need to keep on our advocacy program, I think, to find something permanent. Thank you.
I think
Thank you. Agenda item 4 is agenda item 4 is the planning authority. There are nil planning reports this month. Agenda item 5 is the financial reports. There is a recommendation on page 14. Councillor Churchill.
I move that council receives and notes the financial reports as attached to this report for the period ending 28th of February 2026.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson, thank you. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Just to say that the audit panel has looked at these financials this morning and couldn't find anything wrong with any aspect of them, so I assume I certainly wouldn't be able to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Councillor Gregson.
I'd just like to congratulate Roger Bartlett for his very
I'm
comprehensive.
sorry, Councillor Gregson, I can't hear you again.
Microphone.
Is that better?
Yes.
That's better. Right.
Yes.
Okay. Take two. I'd just like to congratulate Roger Bartlett for his very comprehensive work with regard to the annual report.
That's another agenda item, Councillor.
Oh, is that?
Not following
It's not part of this agenda item.
Right. Okay.
Point of order is in advance.
Yeah,
So,
I've jumped the
Councillor Young, please.
That's
The recommendation and motion moved is that council receives and notes the financial reports as attached to this report for the period ending the 28th of February 2026. If there are no questions or comments on the financial report, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Who's against? Councillor McQueenie, are you
Oh,
against?
sorry, my apologies. No,
Thank you.
I'm
The
in
motion
favour.
is carried. Now, Councillor Gregson. Agenda item 6 is section 24 committee, 6.1, the Swansea Courthouse Management Committee 2025 annual report to council. This recommendation is also on page 14. Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I move that the Swansea Courthouse Management Committee 2025 annual reports to council be received and noted.
repeated.
It's there twice, but I don't say it once.
It is twice. It's a typographical error, so we will stop.
I'll just ask to be received and noted once.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder?
Yeah.
Councillor Gregson, thank you. Do you wish to speak to the motion?
Yes,
Councillor Young?
I'd like to congratulate Roger Bartlett for a very good job. We need dedicated people to make certain that things just don't get left. And with the hope that when the fire comes, they'll be ready to squirt water on the fire, but someone forgot to clean the muck out of them. And Roger Bartlett does a good job.
Thank you. Councillor Gregson?
Well, oddly enough, I'd like to concur with
Can I remind councillors that we are in a formal meeting?
Yeah, I'm just concurring with what
Thank you.
Councillor Young has said, and I'd like to congratulate once again Roger for his fine work with compiling
Thank you.
this management committee report.
Any other comments, questions? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 6.2 is the Marine Infrastructure Committee meetings. There is a recommendation on page 15. Councillor Young.
I move that the minutes of the Marine Infrastructure Committee meeting minutes 17 February be received and noted.
Is there a seconder? Councillor Walker, thank you. Do you wish to comment, councillor?
No, I don't wish to comment.
Thank you, councillor Walker. You are the chair. Thank you. Any questions or comments, councillor McQueenie?
Just a question with respect to the inputting to the budget process that's coming up, because the marine infrastructure, the charges and fees that arrive from that, when does that actually happen? Because that's obviously also consequence to discussions about the marine arrangements and agreements that exist. When does that happen?
So
Councillor
Walker,
Walker?
mate, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So at that meeting, and I can't get up I've been locked out of my computer, but at that meeting we discussed the marina fees, and there was a recommendation that there would be no that they recommended to council that there be no increase other than CPIs. But that's not a given. It's not. It's only a recommendation from the committee. It's not necessarily a given. But that's
Councillor McQueenie.
May I then, given that that's one of the few fundamental ways we can earn income from the marina asset, with respect to particularly the expanded ferry operation, can we please consider that in detail as a particular item when it comes to the budgeting process?
Councillor McQueenie, this is only a recommendation from the Section 24 committee.
I agree with that, but yeah.
Excuse me. The detail will be discussed during our budget negotiations. Yes, that's right. Thank you. Is there anything further? I'll put the motion. Those in favour? Those against? Agenda item 7 are the information reports. 7.1 is the Acting Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Shaw. The recommendation is on page 20. Councillor Walker.
thank you. I move that council notes the information.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Seconder, Councillor Churchill. Thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak to the motion?
At this stage, no.
No, thank you. Any
Others say again comprehensively. We appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Churchill, then Councillor Gregson.
Just a question of the acting general manager, if I may.
Yes.
The review of gas guns at Dolphin Sands. I have not a clue what a gas gun is in this sense.
Just wondering, if I may, Councillor Churchill, I was wondering the same thing, Mr. Shaw. Gas guns are usually used at in vineyards.
That's right. What does it? Sorry.
It just says on the 4th of February 2026, a review of gas guns at Dolphin Sands was in the meetings attended.
Yes. Through you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, Councillor Churchill, for the question. Yes, myself and the councillors AHO attended a site visit at one of the small vineyards, which is just on the northern side of Dolphin Sands Road. There is a constituent that lives approximately 1.5 kilometres away that's had raised repeated concerns for gas gun use. So a gas gun is a non-lethal deterrent for birds used by vineyards. They are regulated, or effectively they're regulated by council, but the guidelines for their use are specified by the Environmental Protection Authority of Tasmania. And the nature of that was that we have, I guess, what I'll case as fairly typical peri-urban agricultural conflicts where there's competing interests and priorities, I guess. So we've been working quite closely with both a constituent and the owners and managers of that facility to ensure that the gas guns are used in a compliant manner. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McQueenie.
So
Councillor McQueenie, I did say Councillor Gregson next. So Councillor Gregson, then Councillor McQueenie.
Page 16 and the second dot point, annual general meeting procedures. Council has commenced the drafting of AGM procedures to guide and support administrative processes with particular reference to decision making. I had a look at the attachments and I couldn't see any difference. Could you tell me? I was probably have to do it.
What page are you referring to?
16. dot point two, and I couldn't see any differences.
16.2,
No, it's page 16,
yes,
dot point two or 7.1.
the annual general meeting procedures.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
And I was
That
just,
will be dealt with. That is also an agenda item. If
okay.
you noticed in your agenda, it's agenda item 8.1.
Oh,
So
okay.
a discussion can be had
That's
there.
fine. And just the second question, page 18, under events and community partnerships, right at the end of the paragraph 1, 2, 3, it's got the Southern Council Street to Home project. Would you, as mayor, or would the acting CEO explain a little bit about that, please?
Sure.
Through Madam Mayor, thank you, Councillor Gregson. As I understand, it's a program launched and part funded by the Salvation Army. It's actually been rolled out, as I understand it, more through the southeast local government areas. I think Brighton and Council are probably some of the strongest participants at the moment, maybe Hobart City Council. We obviously have a really strong Salvation Army presence up here on the East Coast, noting that I think 2 of our Salvation Army representatives were nominated for Australia of the Year awards. They have actually approached council with a request to present to council about the Street to Home program. So it's, as I understand, it's a bit of a gap program. So it's trying to catch people between, I guess, high school and entering the workforce, where there's a particular vulnerability that's identified. So I think in due course, when we've got capacity in our workshop agendas, I'd be very keen to bring Salvation Army along to talk to the program. They have an interest in rolling the program out through the Tribunna High School. But yeah, it's more of a question of capacity and need and interest for us at this stage. So,
and the other question was on page 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, dot point 6, 20th of February 2026, campus group site visit Swansea. Could you elaborate on that?
Through Madam Mayor, thank you, Councillor Gregson. The purpose of that site visit was for me as the acting CEO and new to council to have a site familiarisation. So whilst that project might have been sort of addressed previously by the council and by the planning tribunal, from the property owner and the proponent's point of view, it's still very much a live project. Council has met with the proponents just to sort of discuss the current status. And I thought it was a good use of my time to visit the site to understand the uniqueness of it, should the discussions continue.
My final point is January 2026 on the page 19 still, it says that Broadman Spring Bay Council letters to recognition of Sirs Kath Ferguson and the letter to Councillor Jenny Walker. I didn't receive both of those, so I was just wondering whether they could be sent to me, please. Copies.
Councillor Gregson, we'll check our records, but and if there's been a mission for sure, but our approach with these and trying to reduce the amount of paperwork is that we're sending letter correspondence out electronically to councillors, and then we're just making reference to it in this. So we can definitely capture that as an action and make sure that
I've got the rest of it.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
Thank you. Councillor McGrenny.
No, it's fine. Been asked, thank you.
Councillor Nancy. Thank you. Any other questions or comments? The acting CEO, nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Unanimous. Thank you. And item 7.2 is the Director of Works and Infrastructure, Mr. Sanderson. Mr. Sanderson, would you care to join council if there's any questions? There is a recommendation on page. Councillor Walker, thank you.
That the Director of Works and Infrastructures report be received and noticed.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor McQueenie, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you have?
Yeah, I do actually, thank you.
Thank you.
On page 21, roads, bridges, footpaths, curbs, the last dot point, two new 2-hour parking signs in Charles Street, Tribunna, sleeves installed, waiting posts and signs to install. They have been installed. Fantastic. it's nice to go there and go down the street and see that there's not all that parking there. Now people can get into the shop. And I appreciate as a councillor, council actually listening to me and our local people.
I can only support that, Councillor Walker. It was quite different going into Victory Street on Friday. Councillor Young, then Councillor McQueenie, then Councillor Gregson.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to ask a question of Councillor Walker, following on the issue that she raised about the installation of the signs. Councillor Walker works near that site.
Yes.
And I'd like to know how effective does she think the signs are in stopping ordinary local people from parking near the businesses in that area? The matter of
Can I answer
judgment.
that? Well, it's not stopping people from parking there. It's stopping people parking there for a great length of time.
Perhaps I should have said a long period.
Yeah, so the reason why it was requested is because the amount of people that were parking there for great lengths of time, days sometimes, and
How effective are the signs?
good.
Thank you.
Councillor McQueenie, then Councillor Gregson. Thank you.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, two quick questions with the parking, which I applaud council as well. I think we talked when we last considered this that police can be deputised or whatever the word is under that legislation. Have we let the police know that they're up? Because be it maybe not local Tasmanians, but they may be interstaters and stuff, that they may be prepared to collect revenue for us. And God knows we need it.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't understand the question, Councillor McQueen.
I couldn't hear it, Madam Mayor.
No, revenue part comes later. Sorry, forgive me. I'll withdraw that question.
Okay.
The second question relates to Ryan's Road, and it's not about the item that's later on the agenda. It's just for the people in Ryan's Road who already were expecting, based on advice from council previously, to have the feasibility study done from top to bottom because of their position in the cliff walk. And I think a previous acting director advised that work was about to commence. So just wondering if that's actually, that feasibility work has been undertaken. On notice.
Mr. Sanderson.
I can answer what I know. I don't know anything about a feasibility study, but I do know that we will be putting up to the budget as a new capital from the bottom, from Revan Road up to the, hard to say, about number 8. It will be resealed. And beyond that, there'll be asphalt and proper curb and channel because it's a real mess up at the top.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so that'll be up in this budget coming up.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's well planned. It's designed.
Great.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Councillor McQueenie, I should note that there is a matter in the closed session.
Yeah, it's different to
Ryan's
us.
Road.
Yeah.
I understand it's different.
It would have been part of the overall project, but it's brought forward.
Thank you.
Councillor Gregson.
Page 23, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dot point, the last dot point in the first paragraph. Swansea Main Street Stonewall repairs. PO issued to Stonewall. Can you tell me where that stone wall is, please?
No, I can't. I can find out, but I have no idea. Councillor.
That's fine.
So, Councillor Gregson, what was your question? It was in
My question
relation to.
Well, I was wondering the Swansea Main Street stone wall repairs.
Yes.
I was wondering where the stone wall was.
Take it on
There
notice.
for a very long time, Councillor Gregson.
There's a number of
It's
stone.
on the main,
Convict wall, is it?
on the main, in the main street.
Yeah, but which one?
Well,
There's a number
the
of
one that
walls.
goes through Swansea where the public toilets and that are, there's quite a significant stone
Franklin
wall.
Street, I think.
Councillor Young, please. There's quite a significant stone wall opposite the History Museum, as I recall.
Is that where it is? Is it?
Well,
Where the
it says Main Street stone wall. That's the only stone wall that I know of in Swansea.
Yeah, okay. I just wondering where I hadn't seen it. Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Thank you, Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, is this the appropriate time for me to ask of Mr. Sanderson. A question about the right of way and water drainage that runs down an easement, but it's not piped right through the easement. It runs over a ratepayer's land. Is it appropriate for me to ask a question? Has that been considered and rectified or going to be rectified by our work
Where is the property located, councillor?
in Ryan's Road? And
That's a matter for a closed session.
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
This is for information only,
This
councillor.
is only for, yeah.
Thank
We
you.
could discuss that one when it comes up in
That's
the
fine.
confidential.
No, it's not appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Sanderson? Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Oh, sorry, councillor Churchill.
Oh, I was just quickly going to ask Mr. Sanderson if how we're getting along with the barbecue at Coles Bay, the installation of the new barbecue. I see that it's underway. Are they going to have it
Completed.
finished for their opening?
It's completed.
It is complete. Oh, they will be so happy about that.
This is February. This is March, it's completed.
So it is finished already.
That's what I'm told. I haven't seen it, but I'm told it's finished.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I will now put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Councillor Churchill, you were for?
Yes.
Thank you. Carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 7.3 is the Acting Director of Planning and Development, Mr. Bonner's report. Mr. Bonner is currently on leave and Ms. Small is acting in that. Mr. Small, would you like to join us here, please? Thank you. Which is a recommendation. Councillor McLean.
The council receives and votes the report on the activities of the Planning and Development Directorate.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson, thank you. Do you have a question, Councillor McLean?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Oh, well, a comment really through you, Mayor, and just to go to page on my hard copy, it's page 25, but it's the first item, animal control and compliance.
Councillor, can I please just note that Ms. Small may have to take your questions on notice because she's not the author of the report.
Yeah, it's a comment.
Okay, thank you.
I know I've raised this before, so sorry if I'm repeating, but the Dog Management Committee has not been disbanded in the Dog Management Committee's mind. The Dog Management Committee believes that after Parks and Wildlife comes back, the draft will go to the Dog Management Committee to put in recommendations about communication of it and then put to Council its final proposal. This reads, and this is, I think, the item that I was asked to clarify too in the minutes. This reads as if it comes from Parks and Wildlife back to Council and straight to us. That is inconsistent with the understanding of the members of the Dog Management Group. I'm not saying which way should happen, but if we are not going to send it to them, can I please ask that we write to those members and say the process has changed? Because one key focus of their work was it isn't just about deciding beaches, and that's all that's been done so far. It's about how we communicate this so community embraces it and all the rest, and signage and all sorts of stuff. So that they think that's really important, and we haven't done it yet.
So, Councillor McQueen, if I may ask you, did the Dog Management Committee have terms of reference around?
Yes, I believe they did, absolutely, and they had criteria, and that Alex and lovely lady who was secretary to it is still here and managing, as I understand it, vaguely the Parks and Wildlife.
We need to check the terms of reference around that. Thank you, Ms. Small. If you would take Councillor McQueen's comments and question on notice, be appreciated. Thank you. Any other questions or comments in relation to Mr. Bonner's report? Further, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Small.
Thank you.
Agenda item 7.4 is the Director of Corporate and Financial Services, Mr. Bennett's report. There is a recommendation. Mr. Bennett, would you like to join us?
Thank you.
Thank you. Recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I move that the Director of Corporate and Financial Services Information Report for the month of February 2026 be received and noted.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to step to it? Nothing? Councillor Gregson, do you have anything? No. Councillor McQueenie?
Just one quick question, through you, Mayor. At this morning's audit committee meeting, so of course they can't report into this meeting now, there was a budget process which showed when, I'm wondering if we will receive that ahead of the next audit, if we could ask to receive it for the next audit committee, because that's months, so that councillors are advised of the process of that going forward. It's just a one-pager diagram.
At timelines for the work. It's Mr. Bennett, if I may first, we would normally work to a timeline for budget processes, and I'm sure Mr. Bennett has that in hand right now, because we're not too far away from having to actually have a preliminary look at the budget, I would suggest.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett.
Through the chair, there's a council workshop in April to go through the budget, but if the council wanted, I could send the timetable out subject to the acting CEO if you wanted to have a look and see what the timetable looked like.
I think that would probably be useful for elected members, Mr. Bennett, if you do that. That
No
would be
problem.
great.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments for Mr. Bennett? And thank you for a comprehensive report again.
Thank you.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 7.5 is the action register. There is a recommendation. This is the active resolution report, and the recommendation is on page 30. Deputy Mayor, thank you.
The council receives and notes the activity resolution report.
Seconder, Councillor Young. Deputy Mayor, do you have any comment? No. Any other questions or comments on the active resolution? Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Officers' reports requiring a decision is agenda item 8. We have 8.2 is councillor expenses reimbursements. I need to ask Mr. Shaw to speak to that before we start this section. Sure. Thank you.
8.1. We haven't covered that.
Beg your pardon?
We haven't covered 8.1 at the moment.
Councillor Gregson, just bear with me. We will deal with 8.1 in a moment. Mr. Shaw needs to comment on 8.2. Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd just like to seek the approval of the chamber, well, no, the approval of the chamber to notify the chamber that we are made the decision to withdraw agenda item 8.2, councillor expense reimbursement. However, we've chosen to withdraw that on the basis that we are seeking qualified advice, and we're going to take, I guess, in respect of that advice, review the existing policy and the associated regulations.
Mr. Sanderson, do we need a motion to withdraw? We don't. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, councillors, just to note that agenda item 8.2 in this section is withdrawn. So we'll start with agenda item 8.1, the annual
Just procedurally, and it's not about the item.
Yes.
So does that mean the motion that was passed last time stands? I don't.
It does still stand, Councillor McLean. Yes, it does. Just Mr. Sanderson, we might just mention that we are getting some more procedural information in relation to that councillor expenses, as I understand it.
Yes, Chair, and also to make sure we update the policy, the new regulations, 2025 override the 2015 that the old policy refers to.
Sure. Thank you.
Can I just add to that? This might be an opportune time. At the present time, there's $50 per month plus another. The existing one that was before that is still in place, and I still use that.
Yes.
So I was aware of that. So I wish for that to be retained, if so.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, but I couldn't hear what Councillor Gregson said.
Councillor Young, it was only a procedural matter, so it's not. It was just clarifying a procedural matter. Right, so agenda item 8.1 is the annual general meeting procedures. There is a recommendation on page 32. Councillor Walker,
I move that council approve the draft annual general meeting procedures.
is there a seconder? Councillor Gregson, Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak to it? Anybody, Councillor Gregson?
And with the recommendation, the council approves the draft annual general meeting procedures. I had a look at the attachments and I couldn't see any difference between the current annual general meeting procedures and the draft annual general meeting procedure.
Councillor
Could you tell me
Gregson,
what
I
the
don't believe
difference
we
is?
have a current procedure, do we, Mr. Sanders?
So there, through you, Chair, there is one on the website, I noticed, but there is a difference. This clarifies two things that I wasn't here for the AGM. My understanding, two things were of interest. One was, well, could you have a motion from the floor was one thing. Another, could you, who was allowed to vote? So this defines electors very clearly as anyone that is on the electoral roll in the municipality can vote. That means staff. The council cannot say you cannot vote because every electorate can vote. And the other one was about motions, as I recall. So that in this case, an absentee vote is not a negative because that is in general meeting procedures for ordinary meetings, but an AGM is silent. So it's just a show of hands. Yes, a show of hands. No, absence don't count. Okay, so those are the differences.
So the motion from the floor will be retained.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, no. But
so what was your question, Councillor?
I was just clarifying a few things that the differences and Mr. Sanderson's clarified.
That's okay. So, Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I didn't quite hear what Mr. Sanderson said. I'd be interested. That's it. If you bring close, it's handy. And I do have the hearing aids in.
okay.
And they are on and they do work. But I'd like to know how the procedure that we're going to vote upon differs from the Local Government Act, or does it merely fill in gaps that the Act does and on matters that the Act does not cover?
This through you, can you hear? Testing. No, sorry. This strictly goes by the Act. Some councils have chosen to take the ordinary meeting procedures to be followed. This does not, because the Act is silent. Okay, so therefore,
so it fills a gap.
Oh yes, it's just explaining what the Act says.
That's all I need to know. Thank you.
It's not embellishing it, making it bigger or anything.
No.
I just have one question, and it arose at the annual general meeting, and it was around whether councillors are defined as electors. So, if I can, the policy doesn't clarify whether councillors are defined as electors for the purposes of voting at the annual general meeting. This needs to be included, otherwise councillors could be placed in a difficult position when determining any motions at the first available council meeting, as happened this last annual general meeting. The councillors sitting as electors made a decision around a motion from the community that could have placed them into a potential code of conduct, because they attended the next meeting with already a predetermined view on what the matter was. So that's where I'm a little bit confused, Mr. Sanderson.
Through you, the definition says quite clearly 1.3 means a person entitled to vote in a Glamorgan Spring Bay Council election. Therefore, anybody that's allowed to vote is an elector at an AGM. Whether you're a councillor, staff member, a visitor, doesn't matter. As long as you're an elector, you can vote. And if a councillor decides to make a vote,
yes,
that's their decision at an ordinary meeting, whether they sit there or don't sit there or do whatever. That's up to an individual councillor.
Which is in my view, in breach of the meeting procedures, because we all have to attend the next council meeting with a unprejudiced mind, or
That's why you would say it's a perceived conflict of interest and step down for that item.
Okay, thank you.
But the Act is very clear. You cannot be stopped from voting.
Okay, thank you. That's fine. Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to ask, ask Mr. Sanderson a further question flowing on from that matter. As I understand it, you might correct me, that a person can vote for councillors and council elections for Morgan Spring Bay Council, even though they're not on the government electoral rolls.
Mhm.
They merely only have to be resident in the municipality, and that thus would mean that people who are not of Australian, who are not Australian citizens but resident in the municipality are allowed to vote for people standing for council in council elections. Is that not correct?
The only two, if you legally can vote in election, which means one of two things. You're either on the state electoral roll for this area, that's one reason, and the other is the general manager's roll. Those two things. If you're not on one of those, you can't vote.
Yes, well, as I understand it, you can get on the electoral manager's roll if you apply and you live in the municipality, even though you might be a citizen from Abervolta or somewhere.
No, I think the Aliens Act is no longer in effect. When I was first in local government in '87 at Circular Head, I had just come from Canada. I was sitting at a Trowata out south of Smith and Booth, and it had a sign, "Aliens cannot vote," and I was quite confused of what an alien was at that time. It's true, absolutely true. If you are on the general manager's roll or the state electoral commission roll, you're an elector and you can vote, and that's it.
Sanderson, can I just clarify, the general manager's role is now going to be controlled by the electoral commission,
Mm-hmm.
and that only applies to people who own property in the area but don't live in the area.
Or be nominated by a business to be their nominee.
Be their nominee, thank you.
So aliens are not entitled to be on the general manager's roll.
That's up to the electoral commission to determine.
Thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Sanderson in relation to this? It's nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Will it be before or against?
Sorry, I'm for.
Sorry?
I'm for.
Thank
Sorry.
you, carried unanimously. Thank you. Generator 8.2, as you've heard earlier, has been withdrawn pending the receipt of further information on the matter. Generator 8.3 is the small grant application for the Tivoli Theatre. It is a recommendation on page 38. Councillor Walker.
Thank you. I move that council approve the application for a community small grant funding of $1,000 to Tribunal Tivoli Theatre Group Incorporated for provisions towards ongoing operational costs.
Thank you. As your seconder? Deputy Mayor Simons, thank you. Councillor Walker, do you wish to speak to the motion?
No.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Councillor Brixton and Councillor McQueen.
Right. With the Tivoli, I understand it's at Tribunal.
Excuse me, you'll have to speak up, Councillor.
I understand the Tivoli's at Tribunal, at the Tribunal Town Hall. It operates once a month, so effectively it's 12 times a year. It's got here under items on page 36, licensing liquor permit per year, $486.20. I'm just wondering, it's up to the whole, probably the committee here or whatever they like to call themselves, but is that all that wanted for 12 times per year?
I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
A liquor license for a theatre that operates out of the town hall, $486.20. Is that a good expenditure of funds when we're contributing $1,000?
It is quite expensive. The liquor permits are very expensive.
So I'm just wondering whether that's a good expense as far as for only 12 times per year.
I'm sorry, councillor, I don't understand your questions. Your question.
I might be able to refer to Councillor McQueenie. Are you under committee?
Only
Councillor
that it's
McQueenie?
not, if your question is it 400 and whatever,
No.
12 times a year? No, it's
No,
a one-off.
I realise that, but I'm just saying, is it a good?
Councillor Gregson, please do not have a debate session with
Sorry,
councillor
I'll go through
McQueenie.
the chair. I'm just questioning whether that's. I realise it's $486 per year for only 12 sessions per year. I realise that, but I'm just questioning whether it's a good, expenditure of funds, especially when they're asking for.
Madam Mayor, I didn't know what he said, I didn't know. What's he talking about?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, councillor Young. Councillor Gregson, I'm going to move on because I frankly don't understand your question, and I can't see the relevance to it in this space. I'll move to councillor McQueenie and she may be able to clarify for us.
Just that this has become a really valuable social option for people within the community, and it happens, every month, as Councillor Gregson's indicated, but it also runs films for special events, for instance, for Mental Health Week and for Indigenous NAIDOC Week, I believe, and other things. So they have a regular public 12, monthly session, but not. I don't see the liquor license providing and part of sitting down, they have an intermission where people can mingle halfway through the movie as to encourage social interaction. I don't see the fact that to function as it does effectively involves a liquor license is any different than us funding any other festival, event or thing at Buckland Church or whatever that also part of its cost is a liquor license. Part of its operating costs. No, just that I'll be supporting it. I think they fulfil a really important.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Simons.
Well, I'll just add to perhaps an explanation. I would think that they raised it's at 12 times it's $40 an event, and I suspect they raise some funds on the back of the liquor license, which would go towards putting this event on. So it's part of the cost of doing business.
And all volunteer based.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? Nothing further? Put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 8.4 is event support request for Coast Rider Surf Academy surf event. There is a recommendation on page 43, but it is in fact incorrect, and councillors have the correct recommendation on this document that was put on your table earlier in relation to it. So the recommendation remains on page 43, but amended, corrected. So, Councillor Churchill.
I move that council approve a grant of $2,000 to the Vishno Craze Youth Club Incorporated.
Councillor, could I just draw your attention to? I think that might be. It's $1,400, so it's the correct. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, the one on the right.
Thank you.
The council approved an event support grant of $1,400 to the Vishno Craze Youth Club Incorporated to support the delivery of the Coast Riders Surf Academy surf event.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Deputy Mayor Simons, thank you. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to speak to the motion?
Oh, I think
no. Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
No.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to say yes.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
I think this is a very worthy event to support. If we can have up to 40 children over 2 days have this experience, I think it's a great value to the community and to those individuals. Thank you.
Absolutely. Sorry, Councillor, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. It's a good little group and really well supported at the moment.
Thank you. Councillor Gregson, then Councillor McQueenie.
I just want to concur with Councillor Churchill and Councillor Simons, Deputy Mayor Simons. Anything that really encourages surfing is a wonderful thing. So I'll be supporting it.
I'm sorry, Councillor. I have no idea what you said.
I'm just saying I'd like to concur with Councillor Churchill and Deputy Mayor Simons with their comments, and also I'd like just to comment that anything that encourages surfing is a very good thing. So I'll be supporting this.
Thank you, Councillor McQueenie.
Equally reporting it, just to raise one question, not specific to the event, but we've talked, that is, council's talked at a number of times about trying to be a bit more, I don't mean strategic about the grants, but to make people aware across the different townships about the grants and possibly things like 6 monthly rounds. And I'm not sure that, for instance, the Spring Bay and presumably the Swansea group would be aware that the idea of this sort of grant, which I think is great, could be something they could apply for. So I think it would be good to actually talk to community about the sorts of things that we do fund, and specifically where we might like to see this happen across different places, because it's a great little event.
Councillor, if I may, we have consistently highlighted our community grant process in C-Speak and various other advertising or media that's been done. I think you're right. I think we do need to probably promote it a little bit more, particularly when it relates to young people in the community, because I think they sometimes feel a little bit disenfranchised.
Yeah, and I think we talked about targeted sort of, so men's shed, all the men's sheds, all the surf clubs.
Mr. Shaw? Oh, sorry, hang on. I think I had Councillor Young, then Mr. Shaw. Councillor Young?
Madam Mayor, is it possible that we could put a list of those entities to which small grants have been given in our annual report, so it's brought to everyone's attention, the sorts of things that we do fund, be simple to do and to be helpful to those that might want to apply for like grant.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Shaw. Just a minute, Deputy Mayor, did you want to?
So I believe that's already in our.
You sorry?
It's already in our annual report.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Shaw?
Through Madam Mayor, in just in response to Councillor McQueen's question, you're dead right. I think we as a council can do more. One, to promote the grant funding opportunities. Two, to be more proactive. So that's what those parties that have received funds, they know the system. They're more likely to apply again, and we would probably, as a council, we'd like to see increased diversity in the applicants. So, whilst Bernadette's on leave at the moment out of our community services program, when she returns, this is definitely something we've talked about internally. We'll bring something to council, but the idea is it would actually look to maybe turn to a twice yearly intake, whether it's May and November, something like that, where we have a really dedicated communication strategy where we're going out saying there's 2 intakes per year. That way it's going to increase our administrative efficiency. So we support it with a really comprehensive comm strategy to make sure everybody knows about it. We assess all the applications only twice per year. So at the moment we typically consider 2 or 3 or 4 grants per council meeting, which is pretty inefficient. So we think we can definitely tighten things up.
I hear what you're saying, but I think it's also we have to consider the whether community groups would be able to do that. Sometimes their need falls, you know, at a particular time. It might be when their insurance falls due or something like that. And our policy doesn't allow, I believe our policy doesn't allow us to do retrospective grant applications. You know, if they've already spent the money and then they apply for a grant on one of those two days or 2 whatever. I think we've got to give a bit of thought around that. I hear what you're saying about the workload though. In a small community like ours, I think we maybe have to have a little bit of leeway. Yep. Even if it means that we do it every 3 months or something like that. But anyway, we can talk about that at a later stage. Thank you. Anything further on this one? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 8.5 is again an event support request for Skate of Mind, which is the Big Heart project. There is a recommendation on, I believe, page 48. Yes. Deputy Mayor, thank you.
I'll move that council approve a grant of $2,000 to the Bicheno Community Development Association Subcommittee to support the delivery of the Skate of Mind event at Bicheno Skate Park, providing skateboarding and creative workshops for young people in the community.
Deputy Mayor, I wonder if I could ask you to add that council approve an events grant.
Yes.
So that it's clear which funding it's coming from.
Yes, happy to add that in. An
Thank
events
you.
grant of
Is there a
$2,000.
seconder with the inclusion of that, councillor Churchill? Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak to it?
Other than that, I think it was last year, there was a similar event at the skate park, and I was absolutely surprised at how many people were there and how good it was, and the place was just fantastic. So happy to support this one again.
Councillor Churchill?
Yes, I'm really happy to support this. Getting that skate park there has taken the community, not council, but the community, a long time to get established, and it's really good to hear that it's being used so much, and I hope it's being used continually to a great extent throughout the year. Thank you.
Absolutely, councillor Churchill. Councillor Grigg.
I just noticed here that the Scatter Mine is a Big Heart project. Now, Big Heart have a very good reputation of organising things, especially with youth. So I'm very pleased that this event is being basically run by Big Heart, and congratulations to all involved there. So well done.
Thank you. That wasn't a question, it was just a statement.
Just a statement. Yes.
Thank you. Questions, councillor McQueenie?
Oh, question for you, Mayor, to the deputy Mayor. I'm just curious, did you see some girls, like lots of girls there too, or was it mostly boys? Or
Yep.
Oh,
No, it's a
good.
good,
Yeah.
Definitely girls involved.
Yep.
Yeah, no, involved. I was just good to see it being used that way too.
Thank you. Anything further on agenda item 8.5? Nothing further. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's carried unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 8.6 is the late report. It is thank you, Mr. Sanderson will join us to speak to it. There is a recommendation on page 4 of the document that was placed on your table this morning.
8.4, is it? 8.4.
8.6 it is, councillor. 8.6. Councillor Gregson, it is 8.6. We've already dealt with 8.4.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, just those two. Yeah. Okay, it's fine. No worries.
Sorry, there is a recommendation on page 4 of the document, councillor Churchill.
I move that council provide guidance on an appropriate amount of community small grant funding to provide the Tasmanian Bushland Garden for their project.
Thank you, councillor Churchill. Is there a seconder? Councillor Walker, thank you. Councillor Churchill, I'm sure you'll wish to speak to this.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The motion out of the recommendation is a little bit confusing, I guess, but I can see the reason for it being put this way. This is out of line.
Sorry, councillor Churchill.
May I explain through you, Chair? The recommendation is worded that way because policy said there's a maximum of $1,000 for such a grant. Council, however, can go over that. That's why the author wrote that it's up to council's discretion as to how much to give. The person is asking for 3,750. So I would assume if you want to approve this, you would move that council support the grant of $3,750. It was worded that way because it was above the recommended of the policy, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you for that explanation. Yes. That absolutely makes sense.
Yes.
This organisation of volunteers have created an amazing space at Buckland, which I'm sure the vast majority of people in this room and many others have enjoyed over many years. And due to various things beyond their control, the water available to them has been, let's say, made no longer available. but it seems like the skies have decided not to open up at the same time. So being overlaid by a drought as well, it has, as I understand it, placed a lot of stress on this operation, and just keeping it functioning by way of keeping the toilets and so forth open is a necessary part of that bushland garden. And in light of their request for, I think the figure is $3,750, that's the figure that I would like council to support. I do note that in our budget, we're only about 2/3 consumed the 25,000 available for such grants for the year. And we have like 3 months of this financial year left to go. I don't think we're going to be stretching the amount of money that is available. And this is, I consider, an exceptional circumstance for a very, very worthy and worthwhile cause. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Churchill. I'd just like to clarify, if I may, I believe our community small grant has an upper limit of $1,500 if councils are in mind to do that. I know it's 1,000. I know it's 1,000 is the normal, but we can increase it to $1,500. Now in here we're asking for 3,750, and I'm just concerned about how that fits into the policy. Is it? It's not something that we can't do, I guess.
If I may, through you, a council can make a decision that is not in line with the policy. The policy is for direction. Extenuating circumstances can always override any policy, and you're totally able to approve that amount.
I think Councillor Churchill has made a very good point about the balance of the fund in the community grant. So it's not outside our community grant budget at this point. So I think that's a very good point. Deputy Mayor, did you wish to speak? No, thank you. Councillor Gregson.
The Tasmanian bushland garden has been a real bonus, not only this municipality, but the Tasmanian community and the Australian community. It's kind of seems to be a unique bushland garden, and it's wonderful to just basically pull in there and just have a bit of relaxation. Formed basically.
Councillor Gregson, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm just leading up to it. The former geologist who funded a lot of this by himself. It's not coming from any funds as such, and this is the first time they've ever really sought funds from a council. So I really like to support this because they've done it by themselves. They've been in extenuating circumstances, and $3,750.
Councillor Gregson, I asked you, did you have a question? Yeah. You're continuing to make a statement. Yeah. Do you have a question, please?
Well, my question is, the Tasmanian Bushland Garden has did they have a former water source that's been denied, and what was that denial based on?
Mr. Sanderson, can you put some sense into this, please?
The history, as I understand, 20 years ago, they paid to develop a dam on a neighboring property and had a written agreement with the owner of that property at that time. It has recently been sold, and for some time they've tried to contact the new owner to continue getting water supply from that dam. They finally got a hold of him 10 days or so, a couple of weeks ago, and he has refused and taken out the pipe and taken off their float and refused to give them any water. Hence this emergency, if I could use that word. So it's a historical fight between two landowners, I guess. But anyway, this will sort them out for the future.
Mr. Sanderson, can I just clarify for you? We have the motion that's in accordance with the recommendation. I think Councillor Churchill moved it. I can't recall who seconded. Seconded Councillor Walker. Thank you. And this only provides guidance on an appropriate amount. So I think I need to put this motion and then take a motion without notice for the amount. Is that right?
Well, another way that's often used is both the mover and the seconder agree to amend the motion to say change it to the full amount. I mean, it can easily be done by if they both agree to approve the amount of $3,750, and that would be fine. So if they both agree, you can put that.
I think if I may, it would be a little bit cleaner
Okay,
and
it's
more
up to you.
transparent if I was to put this and then take a motion without notice from councillor
that's fine.
Churchill about the
Yeah, you
money.
can do that.
Is that,
Yeah, you can do
is that
that.
okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I will put the motion now in relation to the guidance on the appropriate amount. We've had significant discussion.
Madam Mayor, could you just read the motion?
The motion
Again,
is the
please.
council provide guidance on an appropriate amount of community small grant funding to provide the Tasmanian Bushland Garden for their project, right to Tasmanian Bushland Garden for their project. So I'm proposing that we put that motion and then I will take a notice without, a motion without notice for the actual amount. And
For the
I'm sure
project
that,
to do what?
I'm sorry.
You-
Oh, I'm sorry, councillor, you weren't.
I wasn't here, I'm
No, you
sorry.
weren't in the room. This is to provide some funding to the Bushland Garden just south of Buckland for a water tank, but they're currently in fairly dire situation in relation to water for the gardens and for the toilets that they provide there. Councillor Churchill, I believe, will have a motion without notice to deal with the amount.
Madam Mayor, it doesn't say it, the motion.
No, it doesn't yet because it's going to be a motion without notice. Thank you. So I'm going to put the motion that relates to the officer's recommendation. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Now, councillor Churchill, I'm sure you have a motion without notice.
I'm sure I'll make it up. I move that council provide the Tasmanian Bushland Garden with a sum of $3,750 for the purchase of infrastructure for water provision.
Okay, thank you. Is there a seconder, please? Councillor Young, thank you. Councillor Churchill, I would think that there is nothing further to be added to that. No further comments. On that basis, I will put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Carried unanimously. Thank you.
It's an interesting matter, Madam.
I'm sorry, councillor.
Madam Mayor, it's an interesting matter, this whole
Yes.
mess with the Bushland Garden.
Yes.
I would say it's a licensed couple with a grant. Wasn't pursued in that manner by the garden.
Thank you, councillor. Agenda item 9 is councillor's motion with notice from councillor Churchill. Thank you, councillor. Do you want to put your motion?
Yes, I can put the motion. I thought that this was being dealt with differently.
So,
The motion is to, we're looking to set aside.
I'm sorry.
We're looking to set aside this motion. But it can still be read.
Still put the motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, well, just a moment. I'm a little bit confused
Don't
here.
worry.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one. If Councillor Churchill, if he moves this motion, then it puts it into the active resolutions. If I understand it, what you're suggesting is you really don't want this motion to. Can you explain it, please?
Through Madam Mayor,
Discussion.
through Madam Mayor, the motion received from Councillor Churchill has been well received. Yes, we've documented in the agenda papers, but the position of the acting CEO is to set aside the motion as received for the purpose, for the reason being that the administration has had insufficient time and capacity to consider the motion in its entirety, and we think it only fair and reasonable that the administration be able to support an informed discussion and debate on the matter. For that reason, we'd like to set it aside through to April.
So, again, I'm quite confused here. In that this matter, do I take it that this motion is being withdrawn at this point? Mr. Sanderson, can you provide me with some guidance?
Through you, it's different than the other motion on the agenda because it's Councillor notice on motion, it would be up to the councillor to put the motion to whether it's withdrawn or not.
Yeah.
It would fall if there's no seconder, but if, other than that,
Right.
it's to councillor.
Okay.
Churchill.
Councillor Churchill, are you
Okay.
clear on that?
I think so.
I
Yes,
hope you're
thank you,
clearer
Mayor.
than I am. Thank you.
I move that any council grant with a value of over $10,000 must involve appropriate due diligence and transparency, including a robust needs-based assessment that involves review of an entity's relevant financials, the opportunity to apply for the grant to be made available to all like entities or individuals in the municipality, and must be considered in open session of council, with any key confidential information managed by way of related redaction to ensure appropriate ratepayer transparency and confidence.
Second,
I'll second that.
Councillor Gregson. Now, I'm not sure where we go to from here.
Excuse me.
So, what,
It's a normal motion.
Is it
and seconder, so it's just
sorry, is there discussion on the motion? I'm sorry, I'm really quite confused with this agenda item. Okay, councillor Churchill, would you like to speak to your motion then, please?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. This motion arises out of it's a way of strengthening up some governance and putting some boundaries around amounts of money that may be granted. This community is a small community. We are a small council, and I believe that any grant over $10,000 will need serious consideration by council and being made available to the close examination and scrutiny of the community. And there needs to be the figure of $10,000 is simply, I believe, a reasonable, although in a sense a random amount. It indicates that it is a large amount for a small council, and that's the main reason that I've chosen that figure of $10,000. We did receive legal advice in 2023 that existing practice of annual payments to a private business was illegal, and that it didn't meet community expectation, for example. So that these sort of things need to have some sort of framework around them, some sort of rationale, and I believe that this is a logical process to provide that requirement.
Provide councillor and provide staff with an opportunity to review it in that context. Deputy Mayor, I think you indicated you want to speak, did you?
Oh, well, yes, I just had a question through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Churchill. Is this about policy development? Is that what you're asking us to consider?
Yes, it is. It's around policy development without being a specific policy, but it could be made into policy or included in policy.
Councillor Young? Oh, sorry, is that it, Councillor Deputy Mayor?
No. It's a motion that's got merit, but it's not a motion I could support today, I don't think, because it's quite open-ended without qualified advice to begin with. And I'm mindful of, it seems to me that I would have thought it's a fairly uncommon occurrence that these matters arise, and I would think logically as a council we would be looking at these on a case-by-case basis. I doubt any grant request for that amount of money or even over $5,000 isn't discussed as a group of councillors. So I'm not sure we need to invoke a policy to make that happen. It just perhaps becomes another policy that may well hamper a decision. I'm not even sure without getting qualified advice around the matter. It might remove logic, it might remove common sense, I don't know. So yeah, I'm of the mind to think that it needs a bit of thought put into it, and certainly have a look at it, but I'd be very interested in qualified advice on it. Yeah.
I think Councillor Young, then Councillor McQueenie, but if I can just add, I think that's where Mr. Shaw was coming from. This motion was received too late for staff to do any real due diligence on it. I guess you're saying, Mr. Shaw, is that right?
Correct.
Thank you. Now, Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, two things come to mind. The first is the comment that Councillor Churchill said about advice received in 2023. Excuse me. And the relevance of that advice might be necessary for us to consider. The advice that, paraphrasing what Councillor Churchill said, and I hope accurately, the advice is that we can't give any money to a business. And if that is the case, then I assume that this motion, carefully thought out by Councillor Churchill, does not override that particular piece of legal advice. So a profit-making business, we can't give a small grant to $10,000 or even less. Am I correct?
That wasn't the advice.
Councillor McQueenie.
I've got my own comments, but in terms of the advice was that we couldn't give money without any mechanism to give money.
Without a what?
A mechanism for giving money. So without there being a grant, without it being a contract, or without for services. And that's what had been happening around a particular service type. Not that we can't give money, and therefore the advice was that we could in the context of providing a grant. Officers' advice then is if you're going to give a grant of a number, it should have the due diligence around the need assessment, if you like, as well as the fact that if we're going to offer it to one business that does something, we should be offering it to as an opportunity, not the grant, as an opportunity to apply to all like businesses. We don't have a major grants policy. We don't have anything like that at the moment. And so I'd be supporting it as a basis for ensuring sort of transparency and appropriate use of public funds that community would expect as a general principle. And of course, on a case-by-case basis, that may change, but at least it's a guiding principle for how community would expect us, and we can talk about to community about if they're seeking large grants, the sort of things that they can expect to have to provide to access such funds.
Councillor Gregson.
I assume that the $10,000 is arbitrary, but it gives an indication of what the amount or above would be. This motion encourages transparency, openness, and it has an egalitarian sense because it's offered to all. So you're not just specifying one particular business, whether that's a profitable business or a non-profitable business. If it's still a private business, that will be applicable to all. So yes, I think it's a good motion, and it's not specific to any particular business. It's a policy amendment or a policy motion with regard to $10,000.
Madam Mayor, I move a motion that this matter be adjourned for next business because it requires thought.
It's a procedural motion. I have a seconder. Seconder. Procedural motion.
Yeah.
Do we need Simons? There's no discussion on a procedural motion. That the matter be deferred until
Next meeting because it requires thought.
sorry.
Could I make a suggestion? The administration were asking till April to be able to consider
Yes.
a suitable.
Oh,
policy.
April will certainly.
April is the
You'll have
next
to
meeting.
change
Yeah.
the procedural motion.
Thank you. So I have a procedural motion that we defer the matter until moved and seconded. That we defer this matter until the April meeting. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Yeah, so McQueenie, Gregson and Churchill are against. The motion is carried. Thank you.
Is the motion carried or?
Yeah, no, it's carried. It was
So it's
4-3.
adjourned to
It's
April.
adjourned till April.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
4-3. Thank you. Agenda item 10, there are no.
Just before you move
Councillor
on.
Gregson?
Yeah, just, I'll let the mayor's discretion here, but I'd like to put a motion of urgency, please.
You what, sorry?
I'd like to place a motion of urgency, please.
In relation to?
And I'd just like to read it out. I move a motion for council to write to the Department of Natural Resources and Environment Secretary, Mr. Jacoby, and the relevant minister to have the whale carcass of Denison Beach buried above the high water tide line for biosecurity and public safety reasons. So that's a council motion without notice.
Has that got something to do with this motion?
No, it hasn't. No, we're
Nothing to
finished
do
with
with this
that.
motion, so that's why I'm a little bit confused about this.
Yes,
So we've deferred the other one, though, haven't we?
Sorry?
We've transferred the other one to April. So I'm just saying with
Oh,
this.
to deal with it now? No, we can't deal with it now.
No, that's right. But I'm just proposing a motion without notice from the council.
what
No,
point in the agenda?
I
Madam?
can't accept it, councillor.
Okay.
No, I can't accept it. It doesn't have any section 65 qualified advice around it.
Yeah.
So I can't accept that motion.
I
I can only accept a notice without motion when it's, if you like, inside an agenda item,
Yes. Okay.
as we dealt with just recently, just in the last, in this meeting.
Okay.
I'm going to move on, councillors. Question time. There were a number of questions taken on notice from the previous meeting. There is some responses there to the various councillors. If there are any councillor who asked at that meeting, seeks further information, they can ask it now. I will mention though, Councillor Edwards asked, is the Rotary barbecue shelter at Spring Beach scheduled to be removed? The response is incorrect. It is not scheduled to be removed at this point in time. I'm not sure where Councillor Edwards received that original advice from, but certainly not in this.
Madam Mayor, is this appropriate time to ask a question without notice?
No, we'll get to that at 11.3, Councillor Young.
Okay, thank
This
you.
is the last question. So everybody is happy with the responses.
Yes.
I'll move on. Councillor Walker.
No, just if I may,
Yes.
with regards to the question that I asked about the
Australia
Australia Day Awards, are we going to have a discussion on that? That was, is it
Councillor
gonna be-
Walker, I think it would be wise to put a notice on motion.
Yeah,
A notice of motion,
yeah, I'll do it.
in relation to it, councillors. Probably for next meeting or May.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So that we have a clear and transparent path
Yeah,
forward
yeah.
for Australia Day. Thank you. Nothing further in the questions. Which ones?
Are we able to?
Question to that, no?
Just a moment, Councillor Gregson, please. Agenda item 11.2 is there are new questions with notice. Agenda item 11.3 is questions without notice. Councillor Young, you had a question without notice.
Yes,
Right.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to ask a question of the General Manager. He might know the answer, or he might take it
Right.
on notice to answer later.
Right.
Is it not correct that things washed up on beaches in our municipality are matters that fall within the purview of the Crown and Right of Tasmania, and to deal with them, one has to get a Crown licence?
Sure.
Through Madam Mayor, thank you for the question, Councillor Young. Is this in relation to the whale carcass in particular?
That
Or
was
is it generic in nature?
that was an issue that motivated me.
But I can talk to the question of the whale carcass in particular, if you like.
No, I'd be interested in the general answer to the general question.
I'm happy to take it on notice, but I can provide some, I guess, advice up front that where Crown land starts differs along the coastline of Tasmania. So some Crown land parcels go down to low water mark, some go to high water mark. It differs around the coastline. So the point at which Crown land starts and stops, and therefore the administrative responsibility for things that land on that, differ. That is fact.
I understand that. And that's your point. The title goes into the low water mark. Here it stops at high water mark.
If you would like if you'd like some general information around the whale carcass, I'm happy to talk to that.
I'd like an answer roughly as to that too.
Councillor Young, so would you be happy for Mr Shaw to place his responses in our next agenda? Or is this something you'd like answered now? Maybe there's quite a lot
I'd
of
like an
detail
answer
around.
in the next agenda.
There's
And if it could be published earlier, that would be nice.
There's quite a lot of there is quite a lot of protocols around parks and wildlife and Crown land and various other agencies in relation to matters like this. So I think it would be wise for Mr Shaw to provide that answer in our next agenda in writing, because I'm sure it's of interest to the rest of the broader community as well.
Especially those in Visionary.
Yeah. Councillor Gregson.
I have a specific question. Will the council write to the Department of Natural Resources and Environment Secretary, Mr Jacoby, and
Councillor
buried above the high water tide for biosecurity and public safety reasons?
Please state the question again. I can't.
Councillor Young, please. I understand that you can't hear
Whispers, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Gregson, and neither can I. I am struggling with what Councillor Gregson is saying in this meeting. Now, Councillor Gregson, will you please move the microphone closer to you? Councillor Young, I will eject you from the meeting if you continue to interject. Councillor Gregson.
Thank you. Just that my question is quite specific, and it is: will the council write to the Department of Natural Resources and Environment Secretary, Mr Jacoby, and the relevant minister to have the whale carcass at Denison Beach, Visionary, buried at the high water tide line or above the high water tide line for biosecurity and public safety reasons, please, as a matter of urgency?
I didn't hear the last few words, Madam Mayor.
It's writing to the department in relation to the whale carcass as a matter of urgency. Mr Shaw.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Happy to talk to that one, Councillor Gregson. Thank you. Yes, it's a matter of significant community interest. I have discussed the matter with the Regional Manager of Parks and Wildlife, Donna Stanley. So the conversation I had with Mrs Stanley was at length, and we discussed the scenario at hand. The challenge being that this is a carcass somewhere between 30 and 40 tonnes. It's in an area that's really difficult to access. It would require at minimum a 20-tonne excavator for deep burial. It would require an operator, and trust me, there's not many operators willing to touch whale carcasses. The option to move the carcass offshore was considered, but the state of decomposition ruled that out, as did a suitable vessel capable of towing something that size off. The position of Parks and Wildlife, as I understand it, is resolute, and that is one of natural decomposition. I personally don't see the value in writing for the Secretary of NRE when the position of the agency has been made quite clear to me.
I'll ask another question if I may. With that's a response from the Department of Parks, but I think it is the Natural Resource and Environment Secretary has the overriding factor, and I know that the decomposition of the wild is increasing all the time. is it a real safety reason or a risk for the Vishno population to have a decomposing wild carcass with the attraction of sharks to the area?
Through Madam Mayor. Yes, really relevant questions. Also matters discussed with parks. There's no doubt that there's been an increase in shark activity and other sort of predatory animals. Those animals are always present in the area. There's a number of white sharks that are resident to the east coast that are well known and that frequent the areas. The likelihood of their activities being concentrated by the carcass isn't disputed. But at the end of the day, there's no. The question comes back to public health. So one is that there's a public risk issue. Well, ultimately, that's a risk-based decision for the individual. But in terms of public health, our environmental health officer has actually been considering this and has had discussions with Parks and Wildlife, the Department of Natural Resources and Environment, and effectively ended up with a situation that whilst everybody recognises there are public health risks and a legislative framework around mitigating those risks, there's also the practical realities of the scenario at hand. Now, I don't think NRE is necessarily in breach of its Public Health Act obligations simply because it can't physically and realistically do something with the animal carcass. One doesn't trump the other in this respect. So I know that there's a lot of public pressure and sentiment, and the Crown via NRE has considered the matter fully. But as I understand it, natural decomposition is where it's at, and risks to public health. We are working actually with NRA at the moment in terms of our social media messaging, in terms of what information is reasonable to put out there in the public domain, so the individual can make an informed decision for themselves.
Thank you. Councillor McCready, I think I had you down to speak.
Yes. Quick question. At the last meeting, at a previous discussion, we talked about the fact that the legislation allows for councillors as a simple majority to move items between closed and open sessions, and for that to be put on the council agenda. It hasn't been placed on the council agenda, so just to ask why and when we might expect that it could be there to allow us to actually action or operate in the way that the legislation says we should be allowed to. In summary, it was proposed that transfer of motion be a standing early agenda item on the agenda for council. Transfer of agenda item being that councillors can decide, or by simple majority, to transfer items into closed session if they think they need to be enclosed and they're registered as open, or can transfer or can put a motion to transfer an item from closed session into open session if they wish to too, which allows councillors to action what's afforded in the legislation, which is to transfer items from agenda based on simple majority.
Based on what?
A simple majority of council. There is currently no mechanism that this council has to do that or to provide the opportunity for it to do it.
In the meeting procedures or under the Local Government Act, Councillor.
Sorry?
The mechanism is in the meeting procedures.
Where do we do that on an item, on an agenda? But currently there's nothing on an agenda that allows us to do that.
Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, I'd ask Acting Chief Executive Officer to get some advice on that, bearing in mind the Privacy Acts, because sometimes it's not up to council whether or not we can move something from private to public. It's overridden by the Privacy Act. It's a bit of a complicated matter.
Mr. Sanderson, can I ask you to
my understanding is absolute majority is required for going into closed. Simple as that, not simple majority. And also at any time a council could move that they request something be moved from open to closed, which would then require a motion and a seconder and have an absolute majority vote So it wouldn't have to be a standing item. Could be at any meeting.
And what if one wishes to put, or a councillor might wish to put forward that an item in closed should be discussed in open session and it's already enclosed?
The same thing. The person, councillor could move a motion that it be moved into open by, once again, would require a seconder and then absolute majority.
Once again, I suppose that doesn't afford the community who might be present during an open session to be subject or privy to the discussion that might happen in an item that's only moved after they've left chamber.
Well, it could be moved through you, or it could be moved right at the very beginning of the meeting. When as soon as the meeting is opened and you do all of that, a councillor can move a motion through the chair to request that moved in or out of open and closed. That's at the very beginning.
Beginning a motion without notice at the very beginning of the meeting.
Yeah.
So that's not clear, and that's not the advice we've previously received. I'm not contesting what you're saying, and that's why other councils like Hobart City Council has it as number 3 on their agenda. So if that's how we're going to practice, then we need to agree that that's how we're going to practice, because that's previously that's not been allowed.
I think it's probably something that I know the staff are looking at a new agenda template, so it might be something that can be included in that process.
And so then do I assume that until that happens, it's at the next meeting, should that occasion arise, before items are discussed, that's when a motion is put and it will be accepted because...
Motion could be done at any time.
Well, don't look at me, it's advice we've previously received. So it's helpful if we're operating to know how we're now doing it.
That's all right. Running a name check.
I'm out of here.
Councillors, please, we are still in a formal meeting.
If I may, is this a question for today or the future?
Well, it was just a question without notice.
Yep. No,
Yeah,
I mean,
so because
for today or
thank you.
it's only a question.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Young.
Madam Mayor, it's a good question from Councillor McQueenie. I would ask our officers to consider not only the overriding requirements of the Privacy Acts, but also the question of defamation. So sometimes moving something from a private confidential session to an open session might have unpleasant consequences.
Thank you. Councillor.
I'll just say I'd like to move 12, please.
You what, sorry?
I'd like to move 12, please. Can you call it?
You'd like to move?
Mm.
There's no movement other than.
I'm saying when you I'll be putting up my hand to move number 12 when you call it.
Item of 12.
Yeah. No, 12.
There's no motion other than that council moves into closed session.
That's right. So that's where I'd like to speak, please.
Agenda item 12 is
okay.
Accordance with the Councillor, I have to make this statement. It's got it's not a motion for you. As Mayor, I declare the meeting closed to the public in order to discuss the following matters. Item 1.1, request for leave of absence. Item 1.2, Councillor McQueenie.
There's a recommendation before that.
I'm sorry?
There's a recommendation before that. That's 13. We haven't done 12.
We're doing 12. We're doing 12 now.
12 recommendation.
Yes, that we move into closed session.
13 is to declare the meeting closed.
I'm sorry?
13 is to declare the meeting closed. I understood you.
After we have the closed session. The closed session forms part of the ordinary council meeting.
Yes. Sorry, I understood you were reading number 13.
No.
Right. Okay.
So I will go back to that. In accordance with the requirements, agenda item 12, confidential items, closed session. In accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Meeting Procedure Regulation 2025, as Mayor, I declare the meeting closed to the public in order to discuss the following matters. Item 1.1, request for leave of absence. Item 1.2 is The minutes of the closed session of the ordinary council meeting held on the 24th of February. Item 3, Tribunna tomorrow, Victoria Street upgrade. Item 4, Stormwater Works and Ryan's Road in Orford. And item 5, the Tribunna tomorrow Marina Precinct Infrastructure Project. As per that will be placed, that is in closed session as per the provisions of Regulation 17(2)D. Councillor?
Recommendation time? Okay. I move that council agree to move item 5 of the confidential meeting agenda, the Tribunna tomorrow Marina Precinct Infrastructure Project, into open session for immediate consideration with the below arrangements for open session management of confidential data. Noting that council is being asked to determine a position regarding a blueprint strategic development of one of council's most important communities, industry and tourist assets. The Tribunna.
Councillor, you don't have a seconder yet to speak to it.
So, well, I haven't finished my motion. I'm noting it in the motion. The Tribunna Marina Precinct. 2, that there is huge public interest, confusion and community concern regarding the strategic marina matter. Beyond the breadth of discussions and disquiet, it's also resulted in a community petition being established. 3, community has an expectation of transparency about how its assets and decisions regarding strategic development of its assets are managed and determined. 4, councils have specific responsibilities under the local government legislation as elected members to serve our community's interests and in performing strategic community planning and development work. 5, the community believes, because that is what what government announced in 2024, that council manages the project. Council has not managed it. There's not been open community consultation process and very little transparency to community. 6, councillors are now being asked to determine a response to the blueprint of strategic asset and community development in closed session. Debating the matter in closed session means that community cannot know or understand how their elected representatives considered this matter of high strategic importance and keen interest to them. No transparency to community. And councillors will also be bound to not discuss what was discussed in the closed session.
Councillor, is this still your motion?
Yep, it's nearly finished. No transparency to community, and councillors will also be bound to not disclose what was discussed in the closed session. Further lack of transparency to community. Council has the power to agree that an agenda item be transferred in debate from closed to open session. The blueprint is a high-level presentation of proposed marina development with accompanying documents. I note that councils can and do manage confidentiality concerns regarding trade secrets and commercial in confidence information through agreed redaction of such information or agreed circulation limits. Thank you.
Thank you, councillor. It's a very long motion.
Yeah,
I would hope that you have it written down.
I do.
However, I'm not going to accept your motion because the blueprint and background document was provided to council in confidence, and the accompanying material. The Crown actually owns the information, so it's up to them to choose when that information is released to the public domain and by what means. It's not our document. It's owned by the Crown. So and again, it's confidential. So I need a motion to move into closed session. Deputy Mayor, thank you.
The council moves into closed session at 3:52.
Thank you. Is there a seconder? Councillor Walker, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Unanimously, thank you. We'll take a 5-minute break. Before we Ms. Mitchell.